What's up, guys? Hey, I'll do a little something different today. I have a winch that I happen to have kicking around that I really don't have a use for anymore. So I went ahead and said, you know what, we should put that on your four-wheeler, which this is not my four-wheeler, but man, there's a lot of ants out. Must be ant season. They're everywhere. So I kind of just placed it in here where it needs to be, and we're gonna go ahead and try and make some mounting for it. I gotta figure out what I can do in this area, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a piece of angle or a piece of steel, and I think we're gonna have to fabricate it. It'd be nice to bolt it so you can always take it off, but we might have to weld it on. So we're gonna work on that and see what we can come up with in the fabrication stages of putting this old 2,500 pound winch on this old four-wheeler, because I don't have a four-wheeler. Maybe someday I'll have another one. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's needed. But if you do have an ATV, if you have a four-wheeler, especially a side-by-side, which is a bigger deal, you want a winch, because once you hit a certain age, you get really tired of tugging on these things if you get them stuck. And if you get them stuck good enough to where they get a suction in the mud, the only way you're getting out is a winch. So I happen to have one kicking around. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and make a mount for this wheeler so we can attach it to it. So that's what we're going to work on tonight. So the first thing we have to figure out is what we have for materials. Now I have this piece of angle iron right here, and this piece of angle iron used to mount it to my pickup truck, and the winch was on top, and that was for loading tractors into the back of the truck, because as you know, I have ramps, but it's still not cool loading the tractors into the back of the truck. Therefore I had the ramps and I had the winch mounted behind the toolbox, like if you see out there on that truck where the toolbox is. Right behind that on the old truck, I had this crossbar mounted with just two 1/2-inch bolts on both sides connected to another piece of steel I had under the toolbox for reinforcement. And the winch was mounted in the center, therefore I could do a little pulling. I could pull a tractor up all day long. You're not pulling a car with it. Since then I upgraded to this new truck. I have a 12,000 pound winch mounted in the toolbox because space is an issue with the gooseneck ball. If I ever wanted to pull a gooseneck trailer, I don't want this winch in my way, which the old truck, when I wanted to use this device right here, I had to take it, put it on and take it off, depending on whether I was pulling a gooseneck trailer or whatnot. It had to be removable. To where this truck out here, outside there, you see the black toolbox. There's a 12,000 pound winch in the back of that, and that framework is not just mounted to an aluminum toolbox, of course. It goes down to the bottom of the toolbox, it goes out, and it mounts to the fifth wheel plating of the frame of the truck, with, like, I think it's 1/2-inch steel. So that's not going anywhere. I did some test pulls with it, and I've pulled some stuff, and that toolbox hasn't moved, and my framework has also not moved. So that's a good thing. But that's what this is all about. So I do have some material to cut up and use for the wheeler. I just have to come up with a plan for the wheeler, and I have to come up with a plan about how I'm going to mount it, what I'm going to mount it to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to mount it to the front rack. So it's just sitting in there right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to run a piece from here to here, and then we'll be able to bolt on the bottom plate. Now this is a 2,500 pound winch, which is pretty strong. I imagine this machine might weigh 700, so I don't have to build it like bulletproof, like pull down a house, but I need to make sure it's secure enough to where you go and hook onto something, you're not ripping the rack off. So I'm going to stare at it for a minute, and then I'll come up with a plan. And once I come up with a plan, I'll come back and let you know what we're going to do. Now, I have the winch right here, And I have the fair lead plate. The fair lead plate is the part with the rollers on it. I'm going to want to bolt this down to the winch for some mock-up, so I know it's where it needs to be when I go to line it up on the machine. So we're just going to zip these on a little bit. They don't have to be tight, it just needs to hold the winch in place when I'm lining stuff up. So that's not tight, but that's going to hold it where I need it to be, so I can set it back in the machine and figure out if I have enough clearance. Now, when I say enough clearance, I mean, first of all, is it going to fit in the hole? Once it does, how's it going to fit? I thought that would be a problem. Once I tighten the fairly down there, it doesn't want to go in. Let's try and put it in this way. That's not going to clear the cooler line. Just a little tap tap. That's all. That's all it took. Of course the bumper's pushed in a little bit, like I don't know, maybe we ran into like 30 things or so I might need to pull this back out. That'd be really handy for mounting when you're not smashing your bumper in. That'd be great. Thanks. Trees are pretty big. You should be able to wheel by your trees and not run into them, but some people, they just have that special talent. We do have a big bar. I don't know if that big bar will pull this out, but I do need to figure out a way to get this pulled out. Which is beyond what I really wanted to do here. I just kind of wanted to make a bracket and slap this thing on, but it seems like I have to do some other work now. I never understood how you smash those in. I mean, if you have one big accident, I understand, but how does it get beat up like that? You didn't see the tree? Or whatever it was you ran into 10 times? I do have a bar, but I don't know. I can put it here and try and pry out, but then I'm bending on that. Let me get my bar and see what happens here. Where do you think my bar is? Do you think I'm going to be able to find it? It's a big bar. Big. It's like for a big... Let me turn this fan down because it's making some annoying noises. It's my big adjustment bar. I haven't seen it in a while because I haven't had to adjust anything recently. I thought it was over here. There it is right there. Alright. This is the big adjustment bar. When you have to make big adjustments, this is the guy you want. Alright. I'm not sure this is going to work. I'm just hoping that I can put this in here. I can pretty much lift the front end of the machine up and it ain't moving. It moved a little bit, but yeah. Let's make a video as the ice cream truck's going by. That's great. I got a bunch of drunk golfers out back on a golf course. They just run their mouths all night long, pretending they're Tiger Woods. Alright guys, so obviously I'm not pushing this bumper back, so this is the problem with fabricating. That winch was not even made or imagined when that four-wheeler was made, so to make it fit, it's gonna be a challenge, but we'll get it. Alright, so I think we figured it out. I got a helper right here now. He's well, the owner of the machine's helping out. He's cutting some steel, and I think we're on our way to making this happen. Yay. Oh, that's perfect. Now let's trim straight up from there. Okay. That's perfect. Nailed it. Got some perfect cuts going on here. We'll go to that side, and we're going to go to this side. That'll work mint. He gets that trimmed up. I got this grinded down. Hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to put them in here, and I'm going to be able to tack weld it. And I'll probably have to put the winch together before I tack weld it because there won't be enough clearance here. So I'll mount that bracket to the winch, and then we'll tack weld it on. So I got the bracket made, and we got it. The owner went and cut the bracket for me. It was pretty mint, worked great, and we got her tack welded on there with my little Best Arc MiG 145, which for the money off of Amazon is like unbelievably good welder. It works really good. So now we're going to hook up the wiring and the switches, and we're going to hook it to something and see how strong our weld is, because you know that's the only way you can tell. So that'll be our next step. Alright guys, the battery in the GoPro died, the battery in the phone died, everything died for no reason at all as I was doing the winch project on the Big Bear four-wheeler. I just want to jump in real quick and say we got it done. I'm going to back it in right now. I will show you follow-up footage once I get everything charged. And I do apologize. Just know if you're going to get a GoPro, make sure you get one that you can replace the batteries in and you have spares for, because this 7 silver, it started out at 100%. It lasted maybe an hour. So make sure you got your batteries in order. Alright, I can't unhook the camera because it's charging, but I went ahead and I fabricated the winch. I got her mounted up to the front. I'm going to run this camera over there real quick so you can see it. We hooked it to my truck out back, and we successfully made a pull up the steps. Now, the steps are pretty serious, okay? I hooked it to the truck, excuse me, pulled it up the steps to test the weldment of the winch. And we got her all mounted up there. She pulls the wheeler. We got the wheeler clean. She's ready to go do some mudding. I wish I could have showed you more, but battery life on the camera is an issue. From now on, we're going to be using the Brave 4. There's some options that it doesn't have, that GoPro does have, but I can film for 4 hours on one battery, and I can change the battery because I have a spare. So that's that. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.